what are your thoughts after kind of just a crazy night?
Yeah, it was we shot ourselves a foot in a few times, but you preach a next play mentality and stick together and never quit. And I thought our kids did a good job of that. And we can't have the snaps obviously over the quarterback's head, and we dropped the punt and disappointed in that. And defensively they had us scrambling a little bit. The target penalties and with the injuries it had our depth charts all messed up. But the good thing was, got a few guys in there. They made younger guys. They made a few mistakes, but they made a lot more plays than they did mistakes. Those younger guys did. And so, best thing about first games is they're over. They're hard to prepare for when you don't play somebody on a consistent basis, and that got us in trouble a little bit to start the first quarter offensively, and then our guys got some things ironed out. But we kept going and found a way to win.
Coach, in the second half, we were able to take that swing pass away from them.
Yeah, except for one. It's all it's a cat and mouse game. It really is. So Coach Salvell, he timed up a couple of them there pretty good, where we ended up dropping off people and instead of blitzing people, and they still threw the screens so it was a good job on his part of the play calling, and a good job of the executing. But there towards the end, we thought maybe that's where they were going to go back to, because they should. I mean, they've been successful with it all game.
Thoughts about Beavers, the defensive end?
Yeah, is that he's done awfully well in practice, and he's got a lot to learn. But as far as the pass rusher, that's what I was talking about. I think that Jay and Coach Coach Phelps is the that first third and long, we say, hey, let's throw him in there, and got him in there, and he created a sack and a fumble, and he's been that explosive off the edge all through practice. And so the more he learns and the more he develops, the more ways we'll be able to get him on the field.
Quickest defensive line.
Probably first step, to get off the ball, and he's got really long. He's really long, and so when you get in that's why it's always easier when you can make teams just have to do one thing. If you can get them in a mode they got to pass all the time, that's right down his alley, and he'll be able to make us better.
Tracy, what did you see with the targeting? Did you see guys a little too over amped up, or what?
They must be. I have to Coach Salvell. I don't know if we had one when I was a defensive coordinator. Maybe one the last 4 years, and so he must have had them a little bit fired up. But now, first, I want everybody to know I'm all for that rule. It's hard. The one is that, like John. I mean, he's aiming lower on the quarterback when he's scrambling. All of a sudden, he goes feet first, and that makes him hit him in the head. But it is. And so we just go back and look at the film, and everybody's got to lower their target down. But when they're scrambling, that's where it gets into an issue on the quarterback. And I think Mitch had one that was close, and that's a tough call. It really is in that situation. But when they're in the pocket, Taon's got to learn to lower his target down on that. So, but I'm all for the rule, and we'll go to work on lowering our target on people a little bit.
From the league standpoint, was there an increased emphasis on that?
No, they're calling it the same. The only thing is they can. The difference is if the officials miss one, they can review it. If the review booth sees one, then they can call down and assess one. That's the change in the rule. Besides that, it's the same rule.
Can they call it off?
What's that now?
Can the review booth call it off?
Yeah, it can. Yes, yep. Review booth can call it off too. So once they review it and they stick with it, you got to figure it's legit. So.
Is there a risk they're going for two at the end, the chance to end the game as opposed to keeping them in it if they do come back the other way?
I guess the question is a bigger risk if the other team goes back and scores and they go for two and don't make it. My opinion is 95% of the time those teams go down and score late, they're going to kick the extra point and go to overtime. And so I would rather take the chance on getting 3 yards and ending the game. And that's my philosophy on that. And we practice that, and we got our kids to believe that too, and so but we didn't get the 2 point this time, like the NCAA Illinois, but the defense did a good job of getting it stopped.
How about the sequence at the end of the first half? Do you think you got a little conservative? You got Rodney's run into their territory, and then it seemed like short passes and runs and almost not taking a shot down the field. Was that calculated, or did you guys?
Yeah, a little bit. It really was. We got down there, and I just think having the lead at halftime is a big deal. And if all of a sudden we get sacked there at the end, then we're out of field goal range. So once we got to field goal range, I was like, hey, if we break a run through there or something like that and get down there, it's different. But to just start dropping back and chucking it, we weren't going to do that.
Tracy, you guys had the pre-snap penalties and the snaps got away from you, but what do you think was the difference late third quarter where you kind of turned it around offensively?
Well, we couldn't get enough possessions in the third quarter. Defense on field a little bit, and we dropped that punt, and so. But I thought after the first quarter offensively, we did some awfully good things. I thought we took advantage of what they were doing, and they were jumping in some stuff now that it's pretty crazy and bringing people and so like I said, I thought Jay and I thought Mitch, he missed a couple checks, but the one Rodney made him right and scored anyway when they hit him off of the edge, and so for a first game, I thought it was good. But like I say, the snap, you got to do that. I mean, that's got to be 100%. That's a starts every play, and so that was disappointing. And to start the game, nobody wants to go that few of plays at the beginning of the first quarter. But like I say, I give our guys credit. It was a tough preparation for us on offense with the new D coordinator they had, and we just really weren't for sure what they were going to do.
Do you think was working well for Rodney Smith tonight?
What's that now?
What do you think was working well for Rodney Smith tonight?
I thought he did a good job on the inside zone play, and then the outside the zone stretch play. He's a really good zone stretch player on the edge with the pulling lineman. He's very patient with the blocks and finds where to make a cut, and he's a tough kid. Now he don't get credit enough for how tough a football runner that he is. He'll get after you. He's done a great job in protection now. Great job in protection.
Were some of the miscues, like Joe was mentioning, about the pre-snap penalties and the snaps over the head, was that more first game issues, or was that more implementation of the offense?
I don't know. We'll see, I guess. If we get them solved in the second game, I guess they were first game issues.
Your impressions of their quarterback? I mean, you got some good hits on him, and it seems like he kept on getting up and coming at you.
He's a tough kid. His film was good, and he's been there a year. He transferred last year and had to set out a season, and obviously Coach Anderson knew who he was, and they wanted him, and he's a tough kid. He really manages the game well, and he throws a catchable ball, and defensively we did a pretty good job on him. We gave up the one long pass, but I was impressed with the quarterback. They're a lot better offensively than what they were a year ago.
When you lose Cody and then Nick gets hurt, just what does that do to your linebacker core at that point?
Well, moves Jack Lynn into the middle. Where it hurt us more was on the substitution packages. That was our starting two edge rushers, was those two guys, and all of a sudden they're gone. So, it took us a little bit, but I thought the guys did a good job of getting the people in there that we needed to. But, yeah, we wasn't planning on that for sure, So, but like I said, I give Jay and them some credit. They put the kids in there and got them lined out, and defensively they did a hell of a job in the second half for how many kids we were missing.
I feel good about your freshmen, especially some true freshmen got in. Tyler Johnson made a good catch on the first down. Martin got in a lot.
Yep. Those kids, and they've been doing it in fall camp. So Tyler Johnson, been really pleased with, and Big Waz at tight end. I mean, he made some plays for us tonight too. I mean, so it's always good. Offensively, we played without two of our best offensive players, in Brandon and Shannon Brooks. So what Jay and them was able to do up front, and Mitch, I thought he did a good job for the most part, and our offensive kids. So it was a good start for the offense. We know we got to be better though.
What do you see from Rodney Smith in terms of a role when Shannon Brooks comes back from an injury?
We'll be a better football team. That's all I know, because we'll be able to keep fresh legs in there all the time. So, and we'll give it to the hot hand. That's what we'll do. But we'll have two extremely good running backs in there.
Mike Charles on the sideline, and obviously before the game with the guys, and then watching the game.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good for him. I mean, it's good for football. What that kid's been through, and I'll tell you what, it's good to have him there. It's great to have him there. So, it does. It's two things. You can sit around the house, and or you can come in for a couple hours each day and be around football players. And seems like football coaches heal a hell of a lot faster when they hang around football players and other coaches. And so it's always good to have him in the office, and he knows he's got a ways to go in recovery. And but if being around us and the players can help him do that, then he's more than welcome anytime.
We'll take one more for Coach. Third one.
Did it make you nervous at all watching Mitch run after knowing he is recovering from that foot injury?
No, not really. He's done awfully well in practice, and I thought really that Coach Johnson managed how many times he ran the ball actually pretty good. I'm happy for that kid. Even when he's healthy, he can play pretty good. He really can. He made some throws, what he was able to do in the game and to keep his composure. I mean, really, there for a while we couldn't get anything to go good, and you lose the lead and came right back in there. So that's why you have a veteran at quarterback. All right, thank you.
We're also going to be passing out final game books here too, so we'll take questions and then final game books are coming. Just want to pass it along the side there. Zach? Yeah, so. Okay, go ahead, fire away with your questions, guys.
Damaris, did it almost seem surreal with 3 targeting penalties and Nick gets hurt and just, I mean, did it, as you're going through that game, could you ever imagine something like that?
No, we didn't. It was kind of crazy, actually. It was kind of nerve-wracking just seeing all our starting guys just go out like that. But, I guess it's just part of the game now. They got the rules changed or whatever, so we just got to just follow them.
Jack, how did you feel like they were able to kind of hit you with some screen passes as you guys were trying to be aggressive? What did they do to kind of hit you guys, and how did you guys try to counter?
I mean, they played. I mean, they called a pretty good game with the screen passes. I mean, they knew our weaknesses, and they kind of exploited them a little bit. But just go back to the film room and capitalize on what we can do next week.
Jack, you're an outside linebacker, but the way you've studied the game to know to play middle in a pinch, what were you thinking when they told you were going there?
I mean, there was no thinking at that point. It's more reacting. It's just I played inside, so I'm confident in playing inside, and I wasn't panicking or anything. I wasn't thinking very much.
Damaris, do you think you guys were just a little amped for the first game under the lights and everything? I mean, with some of the penalties and just the over pursuits and things like that early in the game?
Yeah, for sure, because we've been practicing against the offense like all camp, and we were just ready just to compete against another team and just show the world that we're good.
What are you guys' thoughts about Beavers, your freshman defensive end, hit a large impact in this game and hard to block him? Jack, what's your thoughts about him athletically?
I mean, he's kind of a freak athlete. He's really speedy. I mean, we saw it all through camp, but on the big stage, he showed what he's really about. He's just a freak athlete.
What makes him so hard to block?
Just his get off. He's so quick. The big offensive tackles, they can't kick out fast enough compared to his speed. So it's just his get off.
Are you surprised to see him contribute as soon as he did? Because he came into spring and he was pretty lean.
No, I wasn't surprised at all. I mean, camp really, raised some eyebrows, and we really saw what he was about, and, he showed it today.
Any more questions for Damaris or Jack?
You guys made a habit of small margins in the non-conference schedule last year. I mean, what did you feel like? Did you feel like you were kind of in back at that spot where you had to do everything to kind of claw one out here?
Well, I mean, we just feel like we just had to come out and win. That's what it really just comes down to. It doesn't really matter who we play. We just want to dominate our opponent.
Okay. Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Rodney Smith, come up.
Appreciate everybody.
Rodney, on that, your last touchdown run, just when they hit you behind the line like that, how do you dodge that tackle and get in the end zone?
I honestly don't know. I just bounced off. He didn't wrap up, and I walked in.
The way the play unfolded, were you kind of anticipating maybe they'd get behind the line like that?
No, but it happens sometimes. They had two guys off. They had a guy come off of each edge, and I just had to make a move so I didn't get killed, and it ended up a touchdown.
Those spin moves, something you've been working on? Got a couple of them tonight, though.
Yeah, my dad taught me those. Worked on them when I was young. And we work on them here. Coach Poyer does a good job with us of coming up with drills that happen in game situations. So it's definitely something that I've been working on.
What's been the biggest change running behind a new blocking scheme for you personally this year?
I feel like it's not too different. We just run more zones, and it's definitely eye candy to a running back. Sometimes you might miss cuts and backdoor cuts and play side cuts, but that's just what comes with running zone. I have to look at film and see, because I'm sure I missed some cuts tonight. But it's not too different, just having the mindset that zone schemes, you're going to miss cuts.
Rodney, how was the offense doing with, a lot of penalties pre-snap, a couple bad snaps and stuff? Just late third quarter, how did you guys pull everything together?
We have confidence in one another. We knew what we had to do to win the game. And it's definitely something that we know we need to fix. We stalled a couple of times, had turnovers, bad snaps. So it's definitely things that we know we need to work on moving forward. But at the end of the day, we knew what we had to do at the end of the game to pull the win out.
Were those things that happened in camp, or were those things that happened for the first time tonight?
First time happened tonight. I think everybody was kind of nervous. First time under Coach J's offense. But I think we showed the offense that we're capable of being. We just have to minimize the mistakes.
Rodney, when Shannon isn't playing with you, I mean, you expect that big of a role and that amount of touches? You came in ready to be kind of a workhorse tonight?
Yeah, I was ready for the amount of carries I got. And he was on me tonight. I tripped a couple times. I know I talked about I needed to fix that, work on that. So he definitely was on my head about that. But, yeah, I was ready for it.
Do you feel like you've gained speed since last year?
Yeah, I've gotten stronger and faster. Coach Klein and the strength staff has done a great job with me. Summer workouts is always tough for me. I don't know why, but it definitely paid off. I think it showed tonight. I was able to stick some long runs in there late in the game, so I think the off season definitely paid off.
Hey Mitch, how do you feel like you guys kind of showed this new Jay Johnson offense? Like, it seemed like there were some rusty parts at first, and then you kind of hit a stride.
Yeah, definitely. I think there definitely was some rusty parts. It's good to come out with a W overall. It was darn easy to come by any means. So, that's the most important part there. But, it was good to stretch the ball downfield a little bit. We weren't able to come up with a couple plays. Got a pass interference on one, so that was good. But overall, I thought I had a lot of fun playing out there tonight.
Mitch, do you think were guys a little too amped a little early with all the penalties and the snaps?
Yeah, you could definitely say that. I think it's a mixture of both being a little bit too amped and a little bit nervous. I mean, we got a couple guys on the offensive line there that haven't played in this type of setting before, and we got some young receivers as well that haven't played before. So to get those guys acclimated to the game, unfortunately you don't get like those preseason games like the NFL does where you'd be able to get adjusted to things like that. But to be able to win a game against Oregon State and have some of that sloppiness there, I think that will definitely help us moving forward.
Speaking of those young receivers, Skylar Johnson, what do you see out of him, not just tonight, but in camp coming into the team?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with him. He's a heck of a player. He really athletic kid, does a great job catching the football, and I think that showed showed a lot tonight. I mean, especially, you know, the one that sticks out to me the most is right out of his break, he was able to get his head snapped around and catch the ball there. So over on their sideline, I think it was. But, you know, he's a good competitor, and, you know, lights aren't too big for him. I mean, he gets out there and he can play, so that's good to see.
He was one of a bunch of freshmen, some true freshmen that got in and made some impactful plays. How much of a benefit is guys like D1 to be?
Right, it is big, especially when you're playing a major conference team like that. So, you know, it's good, especially, you know, I don't really know too much defensively other than a few guys having to leave the game, but I'm sure a lot of young guys there had to step up as well. So, you know, it's not a game of perfect by any means, but I think the defense and offense both helped each other out tonight in a lot of different situations. And, you know, when you can play a good team football like that, you know, it shows a lot about the character on this team, and you know, we're all in this thing together.
Previous ones help build the moments like that tonight?
I think so. Because when we get in those situations in practice, in a 2-minute drill, whatever it might be, I've never had any doubt that crossed my mind that I won't score on this 2-minute drive. It's just the way I feel. You know, I like to have the ball in my hands in those big moments and make those plays. So, you know, I guess I really didn't even realize it was really a comeback type of victory, to be honest with you, until you mentioned that. So.
At this point in your career, are you comfortable maybe not getting into a passing rhythm early in the game? You know, you guys had a lot more success in the second half with some seam routes and stuff like that. Is it easier now that you've seen defenses, you can kind of turn it on and turn it off, or would you rather get into the game earlier on the passing side?
Well, I think it all just kind of depends on what we're going against that certain week. I know this week with Oregon State having a new defensive coordinator, we had a set of plays that we wanted to run early on in order to see what their defense was going to do and put us in some manageable situations right away, so we could kind of get a feel for what was going on. And a lot of those plays weren't passing plays to begin that. So, you know. But like when we do want to turn that on, I think it's an easy thing to do. You know, we've been there before. You know, we can, you know, pick them apart all the way down the field, I think. So, I mean, that's just the way that we kind of started this game this week.
Coming back from the injury, was that in your mind at all tonight, or did you just go again?
It's been in my mind, I think, quite a bit lately, actually. Just especially what happened to Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, I hate to bring it up, but you can't, as a quarterback, you can't not think about that and just be like, holy cow, like that's terrible. I feel so bad for him, and you know, just from some, that's just a non-contact type of thing too. So, I mean, you got to take every moment for granted out there, or you can't take any moment for granted. I don't know if I said that backwards or not, but I mean, you get this great opportunity to play football. You got to go out there and play every single down, and you know, after that happened to him this week, you know, you gotta play every snap like it's your last, because you never know.
Mitch, did you feel good running the ball? I mean, with 13 carries, you were able to be productive in that part of the game, and you know, coming off that injury, like you said.
Yeah, I did feel really good. My body feels really good right now as well too. So just got to continue to maintain this healthy lifestyle and keep bouncing back each week and getting ready to roll.
How do you, this offense, so many pre-snap decisions for you? How do you think you did in terms of the reads tonight?
That was good. There was a few where I missed on, no question there, and then there was a couple where I hit it right on the nose, and we were able to get a good play out of it. So, you know, like I said, like with their 3-down front, their Okie front that they ran, you know, there were some things that were a little bit difficult, and I like to think that sometimes when I made some checks up there, they like to blitz from the opposite side of where I thought they were coming from, but I don't really know. So we're lucky. I'm lucky to have a good running back like Rodney Smith to make me right in some of those situations.
You guys have any more for Mitch?
Mitch, with passing Ricky Fogey, what does it mean to you to be in the?
You might not know, career rushing touchdowns for a quarterback in Minnesota. You passed him, you have 25, he has 24. So you have that record.
I mean, I guess it's definitely a really good record to have, especially with a guy like Ricky Foggy. I got a lot of respect for him. Got to know him throughout my Gopher career, and you know, impressive player. So to be able to, you know, put up a number like that, I guess it's huge, and you know, it's exciting. But again, all the credit goes to those guys up front and those guys blocking out on the edge, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be able to get in the end zone.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.